Level 1. You owe $12,000. The man outside your apartment says he will return tomorrow. Next time, he will not come alone. You lock the door. Then check it again. Your wallet holds $37. Your bank account holds less. Your phone buzzes. One message. Fight tonight. $500 if you win. No name. No explanation. Just a location pin. Your thumb moves toward delete. Then someone knocks again. 3 slow knocks. You hold your breath until the footsteps disappear. You open the message. Press accept. 2 hours later, you stand outside an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city. Music pounds behind the concrete. Luxury cars fill the parking lot. A steel door opens. The man behind it looks at your shaking hands, your cheap sneakers, and the bruise beneath your eye. First time? You could turn around. Instead, you step inside. He stamps the back of your hand. Try not to die before the 3rd round. The smell reaches you downstairs. Sweat, alcohol, blood drying on concrete. Hundreds of people surround a cage built from rusted chain link. Nobody asks your name. Nobody checks your weight. To them, you are not a person. You are the cheaper side of a bet. Then you see your opponent, taller, heavier, calm. Your eyes meet. He smiles. A promoter wraps tape around your hands. 3 rounds. No biting. No weapons. Everything else is negotiable. You ask what happens if you lose. He looks toward the cage. Then do not lose. The door shuts behind you. The crowd counts down. Your opponent charges before you are ready. The first punch flashes your vision white. The second drops you to one knee. People laugh. A drink explodes against the fence beside your face. You can stay down. Take the beating. Walk away with nothing. Then you hear the debt collector's voice. Tomorrow. You stand. Your opponent swings again. This time you move. His fist misses. Yours does not. You barely remember the rest. Only the sound changing. Laughter becoming silence. Silence becoming screaming. Your opponent falling. The referee dragging you away. The promoter presses $500 into your palm. It cannot fix your life, but it can buy you one more day. You walk toward the exit. Then he calls your name, not your real name. The name someone wrote beside your bet. Leo. He hands you a second envelope. Another 500. Someone bet you would survive. Then he gives you a card. Next Friday. Double the money. You look at the card. Then at the steel stairs leading outside. You could drop it. You could leave. Instead, you put it in your pocket. That is the moment the underground takes its first piece of you. Not when you enter the cage. When you decide to return. Level 2. 3 months later, the guards recognize your car. People scream Leo before you reach the cage. You have fought in basements, garages, dead factories, and back rooms of clubs that officially do not exist. You learn which men rush, which men wait, which men are afraid, and which men enjoy hurting people more than winning. The money improves your life one object at a time. A working refrigerator, a better apartment, gloves that belong to you instead of a pair still wet from the previous fighter. You pay $6,000 toward the debt. For the first time in months, you sleep without a chair beneath the door handle. Then, you wake on your bathroom floor. You do not remember falling. Your left ear rings. Your hand is swollen. 6 missed calls from the promoter. There is another fight tonight. You type, I can't. Your thumb hovers above send. A knock interrupts you. The promoter is already outside. He walks in without being invited. Looks at your new furniture. Nice place. Then he places $3,000 on the table. The favorite pulled out. We need you. You show him your hand. He studies it. Then fight with the other one. You push the envelope back. He does not move. Neither do you. Finally, you pick it up. That night, the warehouse is different. More cameras. More security. Men in expensive suits watch from behind tinted glass. The fighter you replace was supposed to lose. Nobody tells you until the 2nd round. Your opponent lowers his hands, looks toward the promoter, then looks back at you. He is giving you the victory. The crowd screams for you to finish him. You step forward, then stop. If you refuse, the promoter loses money. If you strike, you become part of the lie. Your opponent whispers through his mouthguard, "Do it." You hit him. He falls exactly the way he was paid to fall. The room explodes. One man behind the tinted glass does not celebrate. He watches you like he has just purchased something. After the fight, he introduces himself, Mr. Vale. He asks how much debt you still owe. You never told anyone about it. 6,000, he says. Correct? You say nothing. He places a final envelope on the table. Enough to clear everything. You leave it there. Walk toward the door. 1 step, 2, 3. Then you remember the knocks outside your apartment. You turn around. Take the money. Vale smiles. He does not ask for repayment, only loyalty. You shake his hand. And pay off one debt by accepting a much larger one. Level 3. A year later, you no longer wait outside. Security opens the door when your car arrives. Your face appears on private invitations. Businessmen, athletes, and people you recognize from television hide their faces on the way in, then scream louder than everyone once the cage closes. Vale gives you a new apartment, a new car, a seat at his table. When a promoter underpays you, that promoter disappears from the circuit. You call it respect. But respect does not send bodyguards to follow you home. Before every fight, Vale gives instructions. Win quickly. Make it last. Do not damage his face. Break his confidence. You stop fighting opponents. You start performing outcomes. Then you meet Matteo. He is younger than you were on your first night. 2 jobs, a mother who needs surgery, cheap sneakers, shaking hands. Vale wants a massacre. The spectators have paid for one. When the cage closes, Matteo stares at the exit. You recognize that look. He is not afraid of you. He is calculating how much pain his family can afford. In the first round, you can finish him. You choose not to. Protect your ribs, you whisper. He thinks it is a trick. In the second round, you put him down gently. Stay down. He looks toward the promoter, then rises. I need the bonus. That sentence changes the fight. You stop seeing an opponent. You see yourself. You could disobey Vale. You could let Matteo win, but Vale is watching, so you strike. Matteo falls. The crowd loves it. Vale does not. In the changing room, Matteo waits for his payment. Vale places the envelope on the bench. You disobeyed me. You say Matteo completed the fight. Vale tears the envelope in half. His men grab Matteo. You step toward them. A bodyguard blocks your path. For a second, everyone waits to see what you will do. Your fists close, then open. Matteo is dragged outside. This is when you finally understand your rank. You have money, status, protection, but no control. Vale owns the building. He owns the fights. And because he paid your debt, he believes he owns you. The next morning, Matteo is missing. You tell yourself he ran. You tell yourself he survived. You will repeat that lie for years. That night, a small gym owner waits beside your car. He saw what happened. He says you are wasting your talent, then offers something the underground never has. Rules, a licensed coach, professional MMA, a legal way out. You look toward the warehouse entrance, then back at him. You say yes. There is only one problem. Vale has never allowed a profitable fighter to leave. Level 4. The gym is small, torn mats, rusting weights, showers that barely work. But the rules are real. Coaches, doctors, weight classes, rounds that end when the bell rings. You expect years underground to make you unstoppable. A 16-year-old wrestler takes you down in 12 seconds. A retired fighter traps your arm before you understand what happened. Your hands are dangerous. Everything else is untrained. So you begin again. Morning road work, wrestling drills, jiu-jitsu, defensive footwork. No crowd, no cash envelopes, nobody screaming Leo. For months, you live 2 lives. During the day, you train for sanctioned competition. At night, you still fight for Vale. Then your coach finds you hiding a fresh cut above your eye. You cannot keep doing both. You tell him you need the money. He asks the question nobody has asked before. Do you want money? Or do you want a life? Your first amateur MMA fight is Saturday. Vale schedules an underground fight for Friday. You call him. Tell him you are not coming. Silence. Then Vale laughs. You think this is a career decision. It is a loyalty test. Friday night, you sit alone inside the gym. Every car outside makes you stand. Every shadow crossing the window looks like one of Vale's men. Your phone rings. Vale, you let it ring. It stops. Then starts again. You turn the phone face down. Nothing happens. That is the trick. Vale never punishes you when you expect it. He waits until you almost feel safe. Saturday, you enter a brightly lit sports hall. Families sit in the stands. Officials inspect your gloves. A doctor looks into your eyes. Nobody threatens you. Nobody places a bet in front of you. For the first time, the cage feels safer than the world outside it. The fight begins. Your opponent takes you down immediately. You panic. The underground taught you to survive chaos. It never taught you patience. Your coach shouts, "Breathe, frame, turn, stand." You follow him. One decision at a time. In the final round, you land the same right hand that saved you in the warehouse. Your opponent falls. The referee stops the fight. You have won legally, cleanly, in front of people who know your real name. Your coach raises your arm. Then you see Vale near the exit. He gives you a small nod. Not angry, not impressed, patient. You did not escape. You only showed him where to find you. Level 5. 2 years later, your name appears on fight posters. Small ones first, then larger. You travel. Make weight beneath bright lights. Sign gloves for children who think you have always been a professional. Reporters ask about your past. You say you had a difficult childhood. You never mention the cages beneath warehouses. 4 wins. 5. 6. After one fight, a child waits beside the tunnel wearing a shirt with your name. You stop for a photograph. His father calls you fearless. You smile. Then check the emergency exit behind him. Sponsors call. Money arrives through a bank instead of a duffel bag. But the underground follows quietly. A black car after training. A stranger outside your hotel. A photograph pushed beneath your door. Mateo. Older. Alive. No message, just the photo. Relief lasts 1 second. Then you understand. The photograph is not a gift. It is proof that Vale knows what would break you. Before your biggest professional fight, a man enters your changing room. He places an envelope beside your gloves. More money than your entire purse. Lose in the second round. You ask who sent him. He smiles. You already know. Your coach returns. Sees the envelope. Asks what it is. You could tell him everything. Instead, you say it is nothing. The bell rings. In the second round, your opponent catches you with a clean punch. Your legs weaken. This is the moment. You can fall. Stay down. Take the money. Keep Mateo safe. Keep yourself safe. You look toward the front row. Vale's seat is empty. That frightens you more than seeing him there. Your opponent rushes. You stand. Fight back. Late in the round, you lock your arm around his neck. He taps. The crowd erupts. Your coach jumps into the cage. You have earned the biggest victory of your life. But you stare toward the tunnel, waiting for the cost. 2 police officers enter. For 1 second you think they have come for you. They walk past. Your coach grabs your shoulders. A major MMA promotion called. They want you on the next card. The dream is finally here. So is the debt you never truly repaid. Level 6. The arenas are bigger now. Cameras follow you from the hotel to the cage. Children wear your name. Strangers copy your training routines. People online call you fearless. They do not see you counting exits. They do not know why you change hotels without warning, or why your family never sits near an aisle. Your first major fight is against a ranked contender. Better wrestling, better coaching. Years of legitimate competition. For the first time, you are not the more experienced fighter. You are simply the more damaged one. The first round belongs to him. He pins you against the fence, controls every movement. The second is worse. He opens a cut above your eye. Your coach asks if you can see. You say yes. It is a lie. Between rounds you scan the crowd. Near the back, one man raises his hand. Mateo. Alive. Older, watching. You stare at him. He does not cheer. He only shows you that he survived. The final round begins. Your opponent expects you to break. Everybody does. The underground taught you pain meant danger. Now you understand something different. Pain is information. You stop chasing the knockout. Defend the takedown. Make him carry your weight. His breathing changes. 30 seconds remain. He shoots desperately. You turn him. Take his back. Slide your arm beneath his chin. He fights your hands. The arena stands. Then he taps. Huh. You do not celebrate. You sit against the cage and breathe. The basement. The factory. The warehouse. The first $500. Every bad decision that somehow led you here. After the press conference, Mateo waits outside your locker room. For years, you imagined what you would say. Now neither of you speaks. Finally, he tells you Vale's organization is collapsing. Fighters are disappearing. Police are preparing raids. Vale believes you are responsible. Mateo asks one question. Will you testify? You look toward your coach, then at the cameras waiting outside. Testifying could destroy Vale. It could also expose you. The fixed fights, the money, the people you hurt, the crimes you witnessed. You spent years running from your past. Now the only way forward is to walk directly back into it. You tell Mateo yes. Level 7. You testify. Not because you are brave, because you are tired of being afraid. For months, your name disappears from fight posters and enters court documents. Vale's lawyers call you a criminal pretending to be a victim. Some fans turn against you. Sponsors leave. Your next opponent says you do not belong in professional MMA. And for once, part of you agrees. You were not innocent. You fought for the syndicate, took its money, stayed silent when silence protected you. The truth clears the warehouses. It does not clear you. But it does what your fists never could. Venues close. Promoters are arrested. Missing fighters return home. Vale is finally led toward a police car. He stops beside you. For years, you imagined this moment. You could insult him, threaten him, hit him. Instead, you say nothing. Vale smiles through the window, because he still believes the underground made you. And the worst part is that you cannot completely prove him wrong. Months later, you return for a championship fight. You walk through the arena tunnel. No hidden entrance, no stamp on your hand, no envelope backstage. Your real name fills the screen above the cage. Across from you stands the best fighter you have ever faced. The fight lasts 5 rounds. You are dropped, cut, exhausted. At the end of the 4th, your coach kneels in front of you. You can stop, he says. Nobody will blame you. Years ago, another man told you not to lose. Tonight, someone is giving you permission to choose. You look across the cage, then stand. One more round. The final bell rings. Neither fighter celebrates. The announcer opens the scorecard. Split decision. Your name. The belt wraps around your waist. The crowd roars. You look through the cage. Your coach, Mateo. The doctors, the officials. People who can open the door without owning the person inside. You won. Vale is gone. The debt is paid. The cage door opens. This time, you leave because you choose to. But later that night, inside a quiet hotel room, you wake to a sound in the hallway. You sit up, listen, then walk to the door and check the lock. Nobody is there. The warehouse is gone. The men are gone. The debt is gone. Nobody way on. Because the cage was never the warehouse. It was the man you had to become to survive it.